Dandadan has made its official anime debut, and it's quickly become the most talked about thing in the anime community. Like, even with the return of ReZero, the first episode of the legendary Uzumaki manga finally being animated, and just an overall very solid fall season, Dandadan still takes precedence over everything, and it's for good reason because damn, was this a good way to kick off a series. I see a lot of talk online about how with My Hero and JJK both ending, as well as Chainsaw Man and One Piece coming to their final stretches, Shonen Jump is in a bit of a scramble to find a manga to replace these heavy hitters. And while I do think replacing series as quality as those ones are is not an easy task, this is Shonen Jump we're talking about, okay? The unequivocal GOAT of mainstream anime, and this new debut to one of the most out there productions the magazine has ever produced with Yukinobu Tatsu's Dandadan. I can't help but think if the manga didn't quite sell people, the anime is definitely going to make this a hit for the outlet. It's honestly even crazy to me that a series like this one would ever be produced in affiliation with Shonen Jump. Like, I get Chainsaw Man is considered the king of bizarre and perverted popular shonen at the moment, but even at its wildest points, it doesn't hold a candle to even Dandadan's very first episode. There is depicted unconsensual alien anal probing coming from the same magazine that produced Naruto and Food Wars. What do you even say to that? But aside from the bizarreness, the first thing I actually want to talk about is the art style, because for me at least, when it comes to an anime, the animation is equally as important to my overall enjoyment as the plot is. And for Dandadan, it isn't the uber polished big budget shonen style we've become accustomed to. There was a conscious design choice to keep this a bit more rough around the edges, which I think really works for this particular series. The omnipresent graininess displayed throughout much of the first episode gives it some character, especially in comparison to its contemporaries. There are also some seriously wonky camera angles and backgrounds with very skewed focus that gave me a sense of like motion sickness on my first watch in the best way imaginable. It definitely tried experimenting in disturbing any traditional animation access, which I think was well done and worked to its advantage, matching and enhancing the oddities of a given scenario. The color palette throughout is also really vibrant and expressive, as well as foreboding when it's trying to be. The consistent shift of red and blue light between Ken and Momo in the second half of the episode was really cool. The pursuit between the old lady ghost and Ken was probably my favorite scene, just an impressive use of perspective to show a chase scene, as well as the color inversion to distinguish the granny. Just cool stuff all around. Ken also emerging out the phone in the UFO scene was also visually really interesting. Again, the red and blue color distinction in play here, this time directly contrasting the two main characters in the same shot, which leads into the overall plot of the episode, which I thought was pretty par with most shonen nowadays. Super fast paced and a lot thrown at you right in the very first episode, hitting all the ticks you'd want a shonen introduction to accomplish. Seemingly weak MC that showcases great potential, a more cool relaxed counterpart for them despite showing that they've had a sad backstory, awesome fight scenes, a budding romance, just a complete package of an initial hook. I actually haven't read the manga for this series, so this is my complete hook into Dandadan, and I don't know what to expect moving forward, but I'll probably stick this one out anime only. I just think shonen is much more enjoyable animated than drawn, especially with these big high budget fight scenes that are what gives a show like this a huge appeal, which shows from how the reception so far has been really strong. I think this will be a pretty big hit, maybe not as big as JJK or Chainsaw Man, but still very popular nonetheless. The weirdness is definitely something to factor into when considering how much of an appeal this is going to have, as from what I've heard, the series is only going to get stranger and stranger as time progresses, which is kind of a double-edged sword. Obviously, this is going to attract people who want that kind of stuff, but derail many others who don't from ever giving this a chance. I mean, anal probing in the very first episode, and hearing that it only gets wilder from here even alarms me, someone who isn't necessarily a prude to stuff like this. So I guess time will only tell whether its plot is going to be an allure for most people or turn them away. The second episode has also now been released, which was honestly even better than the first. The plot picks up right where the first episode left off, where Ken and Momo go over to Momo's grandmother's house, where they are attacked by a massive sumo demon spirit. Another thing I noticed again was the now completely black and white color scheme throughout the second half of the episode when the demon was on screen. I don't know if this is going to be a consistent thing where enemies all radiate a distinct color palette, but if it is, I think that's a really cool cool concept that could lead to some really interesting ideas. Here in particular made you feel way more immersed in the chaos of the battle than if it was in full color like the rest of the scenes were. The demon itself also incorporated a lot of 3D animation, which a lot of people for some reason hate, but I'm pretty indifferent towards and thought it looked good enough here. The overall aesthetic I see was trying to accomplish fit well, and the demon did feel bigger than life at certain points. Also, something I didn't realize from the first episode is that Ken being possessed by the evil granny wasn't just a one-off first episode thing and is actually a consecutive design choice. I don't know how I feel about this. I guess split personalities, one timid, one powerful, is still interesting to some people, but I'm kind of mad about this being part of the MC's character. I'd rather Ken just straight up have his own powers instead of reminding the audience that it's not him who's strong and powerful, it's his alter ego. I'm kind of over that. Design-wise, it's kind of weird and goofy looking for a main character. Why does it have to necessarily be a grandma? I think the background and interesting animation breaks, like in the beginning of the episode, are what really is selling the show for me right now. It's only been 2 episodes, so I don't expect to already fall in love with these characters, but as of now, both seem kind of one note, and I don't find either particularly interesting. I think the bizarre scenarios and fight scenes are what's going to be the main selling point for this anime, which is completely valid, and I'd actually rather this be the main focus of the series. I think an episodic monster of the week type of thing could be really awesome here, and I hope that is the way the story plays out, as again, I'm not caught up in the manga. But either way, I think this will be a hit for Shonen Jump, and even something a non-anime fan could find a lot of enjoyment from. The 3rd episode is in about another week, so we'll see from there, but as of now, this seems very promising, at least in my eyes. Whatever direction it goes in, as long as the animation stays solid and unique, and the fight scenes continue being this awesome, I'll continue to watch this series weekly. But other than that, let me know what you guys thought in the comments section below. I'm really curious to see what everyone else's opinion on this new cool shonen is, at least from anime fans. I feel like this could really turn into something really magnificent, or it can just kind of be okay. We'll see how it goes from here. So far, it's more on the magnificent side, in my opinion, but again, let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Also, remember to leave a like and subscribe. Being a smaller creator myself, that really does help out a ton, more than you think. If you do like anime videos, I just put out the complete timeline for Vinland Saga. That includes the anime and the manga, so either you're a fan of Vinland Saga or you've never checked out the series, totally recommend that video. I put so much work into that upload. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, consider subscribing. Peace.